Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm back with another reading from my novel, The Wanderer Scorned, and this is chapter 1. It all started with the banishment. As soon as the truth was known about their disobedience, my parents were driven out of the garden. It had been planted for them by the Lord God, Yahweh Elohim, a garden pleasing to the eye and filled with every kind of food. Yet for them it had not been enough. And so Elohim drove them from his presence, from the place where he had walked with them. For a time afterwards they dwelt just east of the garden, and could still see the flaming sword if they went too close, the blade held by the cherubim that turned every which way to prevent access to the tree of life. The sword was a constant reminder that the way was barred, that immortality and glory were just out of reach. Season after season passed. My parents wandered, rarely settling in one place, but moving between areas of trees that they could harvest. They gradually moved south, following the river of life that flowed from the land of Eden, passing through arid areas, before turning east again into a fertile area studded with olive trees. Then they continued south, until they came across the mountains that border my childhood home. These magnificent highlands, covered in mighty oaks, were cold in the winter, so they huddled together in caves, creating fires to keep warm. Once the weather improved, they wound their way down through the mountains. Here, streams had formed, as springs combined with the melting tips of the highest peaks. Had they followed these streams, they would have discovered them running to join the gushing Euphrates that branched off from the river of life. When winter approached once more, they moved southeast into the valley below the mountains. There the air was less bitter, and forests of pine, pistachio and terebinth grew on the nearby hills. When they realised my mother was with child, they finally settled in those fertile plains, and my father began to tend the ground. In accordance with the curse, my mother gave birth to me in excessive pain, such pain as humanity had never known before. When telling the story in later years, my father recalled the night in horror, seeing his wife in distress, helpless to do anything, knowing nothing about the workings of a woman's body or how he could relieve her of the child. However, his face always changed at one point in the retelling. He would recollect how, after having intense pains for an entire cycle of the sun, towards dawn my exhausted mother cried out for mercy. Now expectant of death, Elohim's name sprang to her lips, and she screamed for Yahweh to fulfill his promise, to spare her so that she could fill the earth. Moments later, a man appeared at the mouth of the cave. My father could just glimpse a ray of sunlight as the covering over the cave entrance was lifted. The newcomer said little, but gathered water and cloth. Then quietly, calmly, he guided my mother through and the child out. After he cut the cord and wrapped the babe, the man simply left. In this way, I was born, and my parents finally obeyed the blessing to multiply. I questioned my father about that man in later years. "Did you see him again?" I asked. "We did not, son," my Abba replied. "Why not? Why didn't he stay?" Abba sighed and gazed into the distance. "He could not. He cannot. It is all part of the banishment. This must be our fate." Seeing my bereft face at that moment, he put a hand on my shoulder and squeezed it. "It's not all bad. That day was the first time we called on Yahweh after he cast us out. He provided for us then and gave us you." "So the man won't come back?" "No, son, I don't believe so." Join me for more videos very soon.